Dear students, welcome to Itihasa Deepika YouTube channel. In this video, I am explaining about questions and answers of chapter number 10.1, that is the First World War. If you are visiting to this channel first time, please subscribe this channel and click the bell button for get new notifications. Part 1. 1 mark questions. Answer in a word or one sentence. Answer in a word or one sentence for 1 mark. Question number 1. When did the First World War break out? When did the First World War break out? In 1914. The First World War was break out in 1914. So the First World War was taken place between 1914 to 1918. It was begin in 1914. Question number 2. Who was the Emperor of Germany during the First World War? Who was the Emperor of Germany during the First World War? Kaiser William II or Emperor William II was the Emperor of Germany during the First World War. Third one, mention the immediate cause for the First World War. The murder of Austrian Archduke Francis Ferdinand. Murder of Austrian Archduke Francis Ferdinand. Fourth one, why did USA join the First World War? Why did USA join the First World War? In 1917, Germans destroyed the Lusitanian ship. Therefore, USA joined the First World War. Destroyed the Lusitanian ship. Fifth one, which conference officially ended the First World War? Which conference officially ended First World War? The Paris Peace Conference of 1919. The Paris Peace Conference of 1919 officially ends the First World War. So the answer is the Paris Peace Conference. Answer in 2 words or 2 sentences. Answer in 2 words or 2 sentences. Question number 1. Name the 2 rival alliances formed during the First World War. The 2 rival alliances are the first one, Triple Alliance. The Triple Alliance, and second one, the Triple Entente. The Triple Entente and Triple Alliance are the 2 rival alliances formed during the First World War. So the answer is the Triple Alliance and Triple Entente. Question number 2. Name the treaties signed by the Allied countries with Germany. When was it signed? Name the treaties signed by the Allied countries with Germany. When was it signed? The Treaty of Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles, it was signed on 1919, 28 June 1919. Treaty of Versailles signed on 28 June 1919. Third one, mention the 4 empires which were overthrown after the First World War. Mention the 4 empires which were overthrown after the First World War. First one, Habsburg of Austria, Habsburg of Austria, Hohenzollern of Germany, Romanovs of Russia, and the Ottoman Turks or Turkish Sultanate. So Habsburg of Austria, Hohenzollern of Germany, Romanovs of Russia, Turkish Sultanate or the Ottoman Empire of Turkey. Then Fourth one, when was the League of Nations established? Where was its headquarters? When was the League of Nations established? Where was its headquarters? The League of Nations established in 1920. The headquarters at Geneva in Switzerland. So the answer is 1920 and Geneva of Switzerland. Then part 3, answer in 15 to 20 sentences. So 5 marks questions. Question number 1. Describe the various results of the First World War. Describe the various results of the First World War. Introduction. The First World War was one of the greatest, largest, and most destructive events in the history of modern world. It was the first war in which such a large number of countries from Europe and other parts of the world were involved. It destroyed more human life and material than any other previous wars. The First World War broke out in 1914 and came to an end in 1918. So the First World War broke out in 1914 and came to an end in 1918. Following are the important results of First World War. First one, the horrors and miseries of the war were plenty. It has been estimated that about 60 million soldiers took part in the war. Out of them, about 10 million were killed and about 20 million were wounded. Besides, millions of civilians died of starvation, disease, and violence. So more than 10 million soldiers were killed and around 20 million or around 2 crore soldiers were wounded. Second one, as a result of the war, 4 world empires were overthrown. 4 world empires were overthrown. They were the Habsburg of Austria, the Austrian Empire, Habsburg, then Hohenzollern of Germany, the German Empire called Hohenzollern, the Romanovs, the ruling dynasty of Russia, Romanovs, and the Ottoman Turks of Turkey or the Turkish Sultanate were overthrown. Many new states were set up, namely Finland, Latvia, Estonia, Poland, Czechoslovakia, etc. Third one, the Treaty of Versailles was an important outcome of the war. By this treaty, Germany was imposed a huge war indemnity. Treaty of Versailles against Germany. Fourth one, it became common after the war to look government for guidance to solve economic, social problems of the people. Acute shortage of goods led to inflation. The largest European creditor nations became debtor nations. In this way, we've seen existence or establishment of poverty in European countries after the First World War. Fifth, the most important constructive result of the First World War was the establishment of the League of Nations to preserve the world peace by avoiding future wars. League of Nations was established in 1920 to avoid future wars. Sixth one, countries like Poland, Belgium, and Czechoslovakia became independent. Poland, Belgium, and Czechoslovakia became independent. Seventh one, The Paris Peace Conference of 1919 officially ended the First World War. The Paris Peace Conference of 1919 officially ends the First World War. Question number 2. Explain the provisions of the Treaty of Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles. Introduction. The First World War broke out in 1914 and came to an end in 1918. The Treaty of Versailles was an important outcome of the war. By this treaty, Germany had to give up large number of its territories and colonies. So the Treaty of Versailles was signed in 1919 against Germany. So therefore, it gave up large number of its territories and colonies. After the First World War, Allied powers met at Paris for the first time to arrange the terms of peace. In the Paris Peace Conference, 5 separate treaties were signed. In the Paris Peace Conference, 5 separate treaties were signed. Among them, the most important was the Treaty of Versailles, signed between the Allies and Germany on 28 June 1919. The Treaty of Versailles signed between the Allies and Germany on 28 June 1919. Germany was forced to sign this treaty. Following are the important provisions of the treaty. First one. Alsace and Lorraine, provinces of Germany, were given back to France. So during the German unification, Alsace and Lorraine were captured by Germany. So here, the Treaty of Versailles forced to given back to France. France also acquired the Saar coal basin, of Germany, as a compensation for the destruction of the coal mines in the north of France. Second one, Schleswig and Holstein were given to Denmark by Germany. So during the German unification, Schleswig and Holstein were annexed by Germany. They are returned to France. Third one, Rhineland area was completely demilitarized. Rhineland area was completely demilitarized. All existing forts in the areas were demolished and instructions were given not to build any more forts. Fourth one, the independence of Poland, Belgium, and Czechoslovakia was recognized by Germany. Germany recognizes the independence of Poland, Belgium, and Czechoslovakia. Fifth, Germany gave up all its colonies to the Allies. These were divided among themselves by England, France, Japan, and others. Sixth one, Germany was made responsible for the losses of war. So Germany was made to pay a huge war indemnity of 6,600 million pounds. So Germany should pay war indemnity of 6,600 million pounds. Seventh one, Germany was disarmed. The sizes of German army and navy were reduced. The import and export of weapons were prohibited. So Germany was disarmed and also the army and navy were reduced. Part 4. Answer in 30 to 40 sentences. 10 marks question. Therefore, answer in 30 to 40 sentences. Explain the causes and results of the First World War. Causes and results of the First World War. Introduction. The First World War broke out in 1914 and came to an end in 1918. This war was one of the greatest, largest, and most destructive events in the history of modern world. It was the first war in which such a large number of countries from Europe and other parts of the world were involved. So more than 40 countries were participated in this war. Causes. First one, aggressive nationalism. Aggressive nationalism. Prior to the outbreak of the First World War, aggressive nationalism had assumed dangerous proportions. Nationalistic aspirations led to political rivalries. On the eve of the war, Europe developed aggressive nationalism. The patriotism took a militant turn, and my country, right or wrong, became the guiding principles of nationalists. So the patriotism took a militant turn, and my country, right or wrong, became the guiding principles of nationalists. It was this competitive patriotism which led to rivalry between Britain and Germany, and they were forced to jump into military and naval competition. Britain and Germany jumped into military and naval competition. This aggressive nationalism was an important factor for the outbreak of the First World War. Here, aggressive nationalism means patriotism took a militant turn. It means the countries give their importance for their country only. Second one, military alliances. After the unification of Germany in 1871, Bismarck, active in forming alliances to strengthen Germany and isolate France. He initially formed an alliance with Austria, which resulted in two rival alliances being formed: the Triple Alliance and Triple Entente. The Triple Alliance and Triple Entente are the two rival blocs formed during the First World War. The Triple Alliance was consisting Germany, Austria, and Italy. Triple Alliance consists Germany, Austria, and Italy. These powers were also known as the Central Powers. The Triple Entente emerged in 1907, consisting of France, Russia, and England. Triple Entente consists of France, Russia, and England. They were known as the Allies also. Allies or Allies. Then third one, arms race or armament race. The arms race was another major cause. The formation of two rival camps, namely Triple Alliance and Triple Entente, led to a keen competition in manufacturing of war materials among the European nations. This arms race created fear, suspicion, tension, and distrust between one another. So the arms race created fear, suspicion, tension, and distrust between one and another. Fourth one, imperialism and economic rivalry. Imperialism and economic rivalry. The most important source of international conflict was imperialism and economic rivalry among the European nations. Imperialism refers to the policy of extending a country's power by acquiring colonies. Here, imperialism means extending country's power by acquiring new colonies. So, the colonial ambitions of the nations of Europe also led to the war. The colonies served as source for raw materials and market for their finished goods or finished products. In Africa, when Germany met the opposition of England and other European countries, it did not hesitate to use force to acquire the colonies. Thus, the imperialism and economic rivalry became one of the major causes for the First World War. Fifth one, the Balkan problems. The weak Sultan of Turkey was referred as the sick man of Europe. Turkey was referred as the sick man of Europe. The hold of Sultan on the states like Bulgaria, Bosnia, Romania, etc. in the Balkan areas was weakening. So the countries around are surrounded by the Balkan Sea is called as Balkan states. It includes Bulgaria, Bosnia, Romania, Serbia, Montenegro and others. Taking advantage of this, Austria and Russia were trying to spread their influence over the Balkan Peninsula. In 1908, Austria annexed the Balkan states of Bosnia and Herzegovina. So, Balkan states of Bosnia and Herzegovina was captured by Austria. The action of Austria angered Russia and it backed Serbia against Austria. Thus, the hostility ran very high between the two rival groups and led to the outbreak of the Great War. Sixth one, role of the newspapers. The newspapers played an important role in widening the gap between the two rival gaps. So the newspapers played an important role in widening the gap between the two rival camps. Newspapers were responsible in creating mistrust between the people of European nations. Seventh one, immediate cause. The murder of Crown Prince of Austria, Archduke Francis Ferdinand and his wife in the Bosnian capital Sarajevo on 28 June 1914. Gavrilo Princip, a student who shot him, was a Serbian. Austria sent an ultimatum to Serbia to arrest and hand over the criminals. Serbia rejected the ultimatum. So, Austria, backed by Germany, declared war on Serbia on 28th July 1914. So, Austria declared war on Serbia on 20th July 1914. It led to beginning of First World War. Then the results. First one, the horrors and miseries of the war were plenty. About 10 million were killed and about 20 million were wounded. Besides, millions of civilians died of starvation, disease, and violence. Second one, as a result of the war, 4 world empires were overthrown. They were the Habsburg of Austria, Hohenzollern of Germany, Romanovs of Russia, and the Turkey Sultanate or Ottoman Empire. 4 empires of the world were overthrown. They were Habsburg of Austria, Hohenzollern of Germany, Romanos of Russia, and the Ottoman Empire of Turkey. The Treaty of Versailles was an important outcome of the war. By this treaty, Germany was imposed a huge war indemnity. The Treaty of Versailles was an important outcome of the war. By this treaty, Germany was imposed a huge war indemnity. Fourth one, it became common after the war to look the government for guidance to solve economic, social problems of the people. Acute shortage of goods led to inflation. So, shortage of goods led to inflation. The largest European creditor nations became debtor nations. The largest European creditor nations became debtor nations. Then, the fifth one, the most important constructive result of the war was the establishment of the League of Nations. The most constructive result of the war was the establishment of the League of Nations to preserve the world peace by avoiding future wars. League of Nations was established to preserve the world peace by avoiding future wars. Sixth one, countries like Poland, Belgium, and Czechoslovakia became independent. Poland, Belgium, and Czechoslovakia became independent. Seventh one, the Paris Peace Conference of 1919 officially ended the First World War. The Paris Peace Conference of 1919 officially ended the First World War. So these are the important results of First World War. Conclusion. These are the important causes and results of the First World War. Important causes and results of the First World War. It destroyed more human life and materials than any other previous wars. Ultimately, Germany and its allies were defeated in 1918. Thus, the First World War came to an end. Dear students, here I stop my explanations on questions and answers relating to First World War. If this video is useful to you, please subscribe and click the bell button for new notifications and share with your friends. Thank you all.